Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome to Jay's One Key Tournament 3 Paradigm Shift, aka JOKE3. And we are getting started with, I believe, one of our first matches of this tournament. It's going to be, I believe, ZeroKungz versus Dectopia this round, in the round of 32. I do not know the seedings of these teams, or of these players, so it's going to be completely blindsided with me. We are going to see seed 12 going up against seed 21. Thank you, streamer. But yeah, I believe we are getting into rolls already. And looks like ZeroKungz did win the roll. They will automatically get the first pick. And Dectopia will be getting their first ban. And looks like we are skipping warm-ups. And it looks like Clara is getting the ban for this from Dectopia. Oh, knocking out one of the more faster BPM side of Rice off the table, leaving only Play Poker and Infinity Heaven. And I'm gonna see what ZeroKungz wants to go for. And oh, don't tell me you're rolling for your ban. And it's gonna be Rice too, so Play Poker will be getting the ban. Actually, that is quite acceptable, seeing that there are those pretty fast sections where you would need to either use one finger very fastly or just alternate between two fingers to hit those little like fast mini jacky bursty parts that are very, very, very tricky if you are going in on a complete sight read. But once you play it a certain amount of times, it just comes first nature. But all these players are extremely good. And without underway, we are getting into regulation here. Both Rice maps being knocked off the table, only leaving the stream pick, but that is special enough to have its own category. And that makes me think Funky Life is going to get picked for rolling a 7. And yes, we are going to be seeing Funky Life get the pick from ZeroKungz. And looks like both players are ready to go. I actually have yet to see this map get played. Here we go. First map of this match going to be Funky Life. And already we're seeing a very close lead. We just started. But then again, these are, I believe it's a slow jam. And we get into a bit more of these jumpy, like, stutters. As ZeroKungz actually finds an early 200 that will shift the lead to Dectopia with this opening of this map. Oh, ZeroKungz rushing that section as Dectopia is at a high 99 right now. As ZeroKungz did drop their accuracy almost down to the low 97s, but is climbing up at a rapid pace, almost up to a 98 already. As ZeroKungz is starting to climb up their accuracy a bit more, Dectopia is still keeping things under control with that 99.6, but ZeroKungz is climbing up at a rapid pace. Gonna close in on that lead just a little bit, 22,000 points going into the back half of this chart. And get into a bit more of a slow jam section. Then more of these teleports or stutters do show up. Ooh, there's a 50 from Dectopia, but I believe ZeroKungz does trade it back with a couple 200s, and I believe a 100 as well, as the ending will just consist of this slow jam. With a few more of these stutters and jumps, the map is not over yet. As Dectopia started to get a lot more 200s, but not going to matter with this massive lead that they have built up. And gonna actually be taking the first breakpoint of this match, 977k from Dectopia. That is actually very clean, and both players getting FCs. It's just that rush on that stream by ZeroKungz. Gonna give Dectopia an early breakpoint in this match. And these ratios are actually quite identical. Only just about, I believe, 64 300s apart, but still. I think ZeroKungz was just rushing on a lot of sections. And they're gonna go for hybrid too, so gonna go for burnt rice. This map is really tricky for a hybrid. The ending is definitely where things definitely take the toll. We're seeing early 200s from Dectopia. Pretty much tables have been turned as now ZeroKungz having the early lead going into this section. Going into the first drop of this map. With more of these bursty patterns, this is at 150 BPM. So 150 BPM, stream of notes getting in as Bancho decides to be a bit funny. And we are back. As more of these bursts do come in, and watch out because they do change snappings. I believe they went from 150 to a way faster BPM that I cannot decipher on the spot. Oh, but that's a break from Dectopia, and that drops them down to the 97 mark. But here we go with these LN mixed with the rice streams. And some of these LN coordination patterns, which can be very tricky, especially if you're alternating fingers. Especially with these stream sections here. Both players hitting them. It's just Dectopia on that missed run, as ZeroKungz is still holding on to the 99.5 FC going into the last quarter of this map, where things do get a bit more tricky, where you do have to coordinate more. And more of these streams come in, and ZeroKungz actually going to find a miss on there, but that was a very clean miss. There is just not much time left, as Dectopia is still crawling back behind from that 98, or from that beginning, as ZeroKungz is starting to find a lot more misses. Hold on a second. That lead is starting to shrink a bit more, as Dectopia is holding on, but it's not enough. Those misses would have to appear a lot more sooner. But is Dectopia actually getting the better ratio in hand? And only 1/200 from ZeroKungz. It's just those misses getting in the way, but still taking the point, giving them a back-to-back break points, actually. As they do roll for their pick, I believe that is going to be the stream pick. Which, if I'm correct, that is Infinity Heaven. If that's what I think the pattern is with these charts. Or with these rolls. Yeah, I'm going for Infinity Heaven. The map is relatively straightforward. It is just under 2.5 minutes of 160 BPM streams, but besides that, very tame. As MP start has been thrown in, here we go underway with our third pick of this match. And we see an early 200 from Dectopia. And here I go with these 3-note 160 BPM mini streams, as they do transition into more of a streaming based pattern there. But we are very close with lead. Dectopia did find that early 200, but I believe they have the ratio advantage over ZeroKungz, which is giving them this very close lead. As here we go into the streamy part of this map. As it is staying under 1,000 point lead, as that lead is actually starting to flicker. ZeroKungz finds a miss, and that will give the lead to Dectopia, as we're almost halfway through this chart now. Almost 10,000 points to work with Dectopia, but it can take one miss and switch everything back, as these accuracies are very close, as ZeroKungz is fighting back, but finds a rush of 100s. And just like that, the accuracy is still pretty close, just a little under 0.1%, as the lead is roughly by 15,000, but as we do get these more longer streams, we only have a third of the map left to go. Dectopia is going to have to trade back that miss, as ZeroKungz does start to rush these streams just a bit, finding a couple 200s in the process. As ZeroKungz does find another miss, that is going to give Dectopia an even larger lead now, as you get into the final part of this map. Dectopia still holding on with that one miss. I believe they're on a one miss run. No, I think they're FCing actually with that accuracy. Very good score from Dectopia, as we only have this outro to go. As ZeroKungz as well, just only having the downside of missing on the more streams, which I believe that's an FC from Dectopia. 992 from Dectopia. Impressive. Only two 200s. And getting pretty much half of ZeroKungz's ratio. getting another break point as they immediately go for the speed pick, which is La Plus. And I'm sorry for that, but I'm back now. Wow, this lead is actually extremely close. Both players on an FC run, and the accuracy is only by 100% now. As these little bursts, clocking in at 236 BPM, do show up. I believe that was 200 from ZeroKungz. We're going to give Dectopia a bit of a cushion to work with, but we still have a lot of the map to go. I believe this is the longest pick, or longest map in the pool, minus the tiebreaker. But even then, at a staggering 3 minutes, lots of finger switching, or lots of finger alternating. But you do get a break section, as the accuracy lead is starting to lean more towards Dectopia. And that's actually a miss from ZeroKungz. And now Dectopia having a large lead to work with. They can probably pull this off as long as they keep that combo. There are still a bit more tricky sections ahead, more tricky speed, especially with this, like, of these transitions from 160, I believe that's 168 BPM to 236 just constantly. And we actually did see a miss from ZeroKungz on that pattern, as they do increase our lead to roughly 30,000 at this point. And yeah, Dectopia taking a massive lead now, almost set 70,000 points now. As almost a 9.97? No, and actually that was Bancho delay, wow. But not really gonna matter at all. Only 3 200s and 989k, very good. And ZeroKungz as well, 942k. Just those misses really putting that dent into their score, but still very respective scores from both sides. as now ZeroKungz is in a bit of a pickle as they are on the brink of being knocked into the losers bracket, as Dectopia is just one win away from going to the round of 16. They tried to go for Hybrid 2, but that was picked, so they're going to go for Hybrid 1. They're going to go for This Club Is Not For You. So this is, I believe, a bit more easier than Burnt Rice, in my opinion. As this is more LN based than what Burnt Rice was. And also, I believe no, this is actually a 10 BPM higher than Burnt Rice, but still very, very simple. I believe it's just the back half that gives the struggle, at least for me. Oh, that's already a rush at 200 from ZeroKungz. Oh, but Dectopia does trade that with a miss. But they still have the accuracy advantage, but not the score advantage. As more of these LNs do get into this map, and that is a massive lead for ZeroKungz, as Dectopia did find a miss there. Very chaotic beginning for both sides, but thankfully they look to have settled down just now. As you do get more of these tricky finger switch patterns here. And ZeroKungz having a 16,000 point lead to work with as of now. And that tricky little mini jack there, not catching anyone off guard. And here we go into the back half, where things are a bit more normal. Just gonna have to deal with these, timing these LNs perfectly, but do get a little bit more of these streaming out parts. Now, ZeroKungz does slip up. That was a very nasty drop on that LN section. Now that lead just goes right over to Dectopia, and they miss again. As now Dectopia at a 98.5, while ZeroKungz is at that 97.6. Still finding some rushes in some these patterns missing, or not missing, but dropping a lot of 200s. As now Dectopia is going into this final part of the map with 31k points, and it doesn't look like they will be stopping, as ZeroKungz does find another miss that will most likely secure it, unless Dectopia finds something nasty in this ending. And we're not going to see anything. Dectopia will be taking the victory on this one, 4-1, and will be advancing to the round of 16. As unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye to ZeroKungz in the winners bracket. They are not out of the tournament just yet. They will have to fight in the losers bracket. As for who they will be versing, I believe they'll either for Dectopia, they'll either be versing Era Punish or Nathan 7978, which that will be decided later on in the day. I believe that's 16 UTC, which will actually be our next match, our next set of matches. As we will be closing off the stream for a bit, for a couple hours, I'd say. But yeah, congratulations to Dectopia for winning this match. And I believe we can take a look at our schedule. We can see what is happening up next. We're gonna be seeing Silly Fangirl versus Dragon at 16 UTC, two prominent figures in this community. And then I believe we're gonna have Punish versus Nathan 7978 happening at the same time. So we're going to be having a doubleheader at 16 UTC, which will be roughly an hour and a half from now. But for now, we'll be closing off. Thank you all for watching JOKE3. We will see you in a bit.